I'm standing on a mountaintop nearly 7,000 feet above sea level with two identical tri-tips, the same grill, the same vent settings, and the same charcoal to understand how high altitude cooking can be messing with things like fire control, controlling temperatures on your grill, as well as the cook details. I've heard in the comments for years, James, do vent settings for controlling my temperatures work the same if I happen to be visiting or if I live at a higher altitude? Or why do popular methods that I see online, for example, hot and fast, seem to give me a terrible result? Well, the altitude may be to blame. Water boils where I'm at home camp about 200 feet above sea level at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Where I'm standing right now, water boils at 198 degrees Fahrenheit. And the tri-tip that I'm cooking is 75% water. So this actually can play a huge role in terms of the quality of the barbecue that you're turning out. And if you're following along, seeing a method like La Barbecue in Austin, in Texas, where I was visiting recently, cooks their briskets hot and fast and saying, why don't I get a good result? That may be working against you. So to try and understand exactly what's going on, I'm going to cook these two tri-tips with as few of variables as possible to find out what the impact of high elevation is on your barbecue. So I am pretty confident that these two tri-tips cooked like a brisket are not going to be my best effort because I'm not even going to season them. I know, but there's actually a good reason for that, as salt will pull out moisture content. I mentioned the tri-tips raw are about 75% moisture, and I don't want things like the seasoning details, if I add more to one versus the other, to play any role in determining the outcomes. So I really just want to understand the vents in terms of controlling temperatures, as well as how two identical tri-tips in weight cook at different altitudes. And so to eliminate all the variables, if I walk you through the steps, I measured out Fogo about 1.5 pounds using a food scale to make sure I had the same fuel from the same bag, and I'll use that in each of my two tests. In terms of starting my fire, I didn't want any variables in terms of, for example, how often or how long I use my grill torch. So I'm just gonna add one fire cube and give that 10 minutes of coming up to temperature, and I'll do the exact same procedure at lower elevation. And then for setting the vents, I'm gonna use the handle on my knife just as a measuring device to set the bottom draft door, as well as the regulator cap on my Big Green Egg Mini Max, just to, again, make sure everything is identical. So I'm not gonna make any adjustments as you would if you were actually trying to cook the best possible tri-tip as a brisket. So the temperatures may skyrocket, that's okay. I wanna look at the meter charts at high elevation versus low elevation and see if we can spot some of the differences in terms of how the fire behaves, as well as how our tri-tips cook like a brisket. So that means I've set the alert on the meter to 203 degrees, which is well beyond the boiling point where I'm standing right now. But that's just to, again, give us a comparison in terms of how these two cooks unfold. Well, I am not looking forward to this taste test for a number of reasons, including cooking a tri-tip hot and fast to 203 degrees, no seasoning on it, but it's actually a 0.3, which was a friendly visit from the ranger to remind me that I am in bear country. So as much as I may not think this tastes delicious, there are some friends in the forest who would think otherwise, and now every noise I hear coming up in the bushes has me a little jumpy. So without further ado, let's get on and find out just how bad it is. This is not good. I might be safe. I'm gonna be here a minute. Oh, not gonna lie, that is not good. But we've got our data on our vents, we've got our data on our cook time, and if it means anything, a very bad taste test. So I've pulled out the Kick Ash basket and can where my charcoal is, dumped some ice that I had left over in the cooler just to cool that off. I'm gonna leave everything open for about half an hour or so to cool down. That's how I get my Mini Max and we take it camping. Remove the heat source, you can cool it off really quick. I'm gonna pack it back up in the truck and head about 800 miles home. So for me, it'll be an all-day drive, but for you, part 2 will go just like that. Well, welcome home. We are now back at 200 feet above sea level, and I have just repeated the exact same procedure. Weighed out the same charcoal, used my 1.5 pounds of Fogo, added a fire starter, used the torch for 30 seconds, 10 minutes to preheat the grill, installed the deflectors, the tri-tip along with a meter probe, and spaced it 4 fingers back from the front of the grill to try and keep things as equal as possible. But this is where the similarities end. So the first one honestly surprised me, which is the cook time. Today's tri-tip took nearly 20 minutes longer than the high elevation. Now, a couple theories on this. I did my best to weigh them out to get as close as possible. We were within 1/10 of a pound, but not all pieces of meat are equal. So if there was more intermuscular fat, this could be part of a difference. The other thing that may be to blame here is I didn't know this beforehand, but once I installed the meter probe, I got an internal temperature on both tri-tips. And the one at high elevation, because I had it in the cooler and out for a little while longer while I was setting up, had a starting point of nearly 10 degrees Fahrenheit higher. And since I wasn't tracking these in the fridge to know that, I might chalk that one up to user error or learning on some of the variables. But if we get back to the things that we controlled perfectly, which is our vent settings, does high elevation change our vent settings? This is where I saw a massive difference. So I'll fill you in on all the details, but first I want to wait the exact same amount of time that I did at high elevation, and we have just reached it now. So let's slice in our tri-tip, try it, and I'll tell you the massive difference I saw in the vent performance. So once again, not an amazing looking tri-tip, but actually when I sliced it open, I could see a little bit of what we hypothesized, which is a little bit higher intermuscular fat on this example. So maybe, again, that was one of the variables, but also since we were cooking hot and fast, you can still see a little bit of that white fat, which was not rendered because we were just going way too hot and way too fast. So again, this is not a masterclass by any means in how to cook tri-tip. We didn't do anything that I would recommend to eliminate as many variables as possible, but definitely a side effect of going too hot and too fast. And yes, I'm stalling tasting this based off of the last one, but without further ado, let's get it over with. Cheers. It's still very dry. Not as bad for some reason as the last one. Not good. Don't get me wrong. This is the kind of thing where you're like, maybe some barbecue sauce and mask as much of it as possible, but it is slightly less awful than our high elevation. But now that we've got that behind us, let's focus in on the vent settings. So there's 2 numbers that I think really stood out to me when I look at the meter chart data. So the first one is the fact that our Big Green Egg Mini Max soared all the way to 23% higher temperatures at low elevation than it did at high elevation. Now, that's also because the cook took 20 minutes longer, and both meter charts, you can see the temperature was rising. So if I back up to the exact same 1 hour mark, which is when the high elevation tri-tip was done, the difference there in temperatures was 15%. And so this matches about the air pressure density from where I am to the high elevation tri-tip. So this absolutely makes sense that all of you have hypothesized. Does the vent setting performance change at high altitude or low altitude? I would use the 1 hour mark, and this is where there was a massive 15% difference, which left unchecked continued to perform even more aggressively based off of the oxygen available at the restricted vent settings that I was using for these 2 experiments. So this one, I would say absolutely yes. In order to now apply more variables to the cook, even though I'm within 2 days here, the anecdotal data on being slightly less dry versus very dry at high elevation, I would say, again, all the online documentation on this of cooking lower and slower is better. So hot and fast, I do not recommend for high altitude cooking. That is one that I would take away. Also, when you see recipes about injecting or not injecting and get a difference of opinion, I would think this again can also depend on where you are in terms of your elevation above sea level. For me, being just 200 feet, I'm not somebody who injects regularly, but I could absolutely understand why if you're in competition barbecue circles and or you're at a higher elevation, this might be a good idea to give you a little bit more moisture and flavor inside of your cook, as well as spraying and wrapping. So we've learned absolutely the vent settings makes a massive difference, and also maybe to apply a bit of an eye of caution towards some of the tips and techniques that you see that might have been based at one elevation and will not perform wherever you happen to be located in terms of your distance above sea level. This was a super interesting one to finally get a chance to do. Thanks so much for asking in the questions. If you got a question, feel free to ask down in the comments, or if you don't want to wait, feel free to check out the members live section where I go live once a month and you can ask me questions real time versus waiting for one of these videos to get made. That's it for today though. I'm James from Soaking Dead Barbecue signing off. Remember, don't be afraid to fire it up. This one at least isn't as awful. I can do one more piece.